husband Casey are doing, how many deals a year do you guys do?
In the past, we've done up to about 60. This past few years, we were only doing around 40.
40. Okay, 40 deals a year, like with an average profit off?
15,000 for about 30 of those deals, and then we had a couple that were a bit larger than
All
15,000.
right, so $15,000 on 30. Do you do the math? That's 450 grand, and then 10, 15 of them that are bigger paychecks, including some six-figure paychecks, right?
Correct.
All right, wonderful. So there we are talking to somebody who is pulling in a significant income with a small team. How many people work in your with you?
Three of them, myself, my husband, and we have a full-time virtual assistant. So it's just
Okay,
three of us.
three people, your husband, yourself, and one virtual assistant. Guys, welcome to the Land Profit Masterclass, where we'll show you how you can build, if you want to, if you put in the work. That is not an earnings claim, right? It's not a promise that you're going to do this. You got to do the work, but just from the get-go. But we can show you how you can build a business like Courtney's, where you're making multiple six-figure, over 500K a year, basically working, in her case, as a husband and wife team with one virtual assistant. But we also have taught this to single men, single women, single moms, truck drivers, attorneys, you name it, from all over the world. So with that said, guys, let's get going. Also, I want to wish you a happy new year. This is the first masterclass of the year right now. I'm super excited for that. This is always the most exciting time of the year. This is the year where you want to plan for the year. You want to put things together. You want to use that momentum that you have. But no matter when you are starting this business, like, the point here is, one of the key points that I want to make with you guys is that we want to make sure that when you start something, that you also finish it, right? We will go into demonstration mode in just a second, showing you exactly how this works, exactly these steps. But also, before, I want to just make sure that you actually have the playbook. We have a playbook, the Land Profit Masterclass playbook. So if you don't have the playbook, please go into the chat box right now, here into the comments box on the Zoom call, and basically let us know you need the playbook. Like, basically put in there, need playbook, or looking for playbook, or something like that, need playbook, workbook, and the team is going to drop the links there. Now, if you're watching this as a replay, because we are going to make these replays available for a limited amount of time, probably like a week or so, then you will then make sure you comment below. If you're watching this in a Facebook group, then make sure you comment below. If you're watching this on a replay, there should be a link below it. If not, contact your land expert. Every one of you guys have been assigned a land expert. We have 4 land experts ready for you that are full-time team members of our team, that are ready to help you with any questions that you have, because there's only 2 of us. There's Courtney and I here today, and tomorrow is going to be Steven and other co-hosts over the course of the week. But there's hundreds, if not thousands, of you guys that are attending this session with us over the time, right? So we had I think we had over 6,000 people register for this masterclass. So if you're watching this as a replay and you don't see the playbook, make sure you do it, because the playbook is like, I don't know how many pages. It's like 27 pages long, with details, with lots of narrative, lots of explanation, with space for notes, with graphics, with all these kind of different things included in here. So with that said, guys, let's put it in there, but also let's consider this, guys. Let's consider what you're going to go through here right now, a gift, right? A gift. Well, what worked, think about what worked in the past and what didn't go so well. Again, this is the beginning of the year, so this is a perfect time to reflect about the past of the year. But even if it's not the beginning of the year for you, or even if you, like, this is always a great time. So the point is, what we want to do, we're starting this masterclass right now, and it's a perfect time for you to look into the past. Look at the last 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever your time frame you want to pick, and basically say, what has happened, what went well in that time, and what didn't go well. Did you start a bunch of stuff, and did you not finish it? Who started a bunch of stuff and didn't finish it? Give me a heck yes, right? Who is a starter but not a finisher, right? Heck yes, Matt. All right, so one, not just one. There's many more of you guys, right? I'm sure there's many more people that started something. Cheryl, thank you for your honesty. So the thing here is what we want to do is the moment you start thinking about the past and and thinking about what worked and what didn't work and what you can do better, you're starting to contemplate. You're starting to actually understand your patterns, your own human patterns. What are you good at? What you're not good at? What you need to improve, and so on and so forth. And that's one of the key items for this masterclass too, because I want you to suspend disbelief for a little bit and just start believing that it is possible for you to actually do a real estate method that you can do with very little overhead, right? With that you can do from home. And Courtney, you do your deal. You're at home, right? You do all your land deals from home.
Home or wherever I'm at. If I'm visiting family for some time, I can check in just even simply on my phone and do my check-ins. So anywhere I do
Exactly.
it.
Exactly right. And you were just traveling for to visit family the last few weeks, and you did your business from there, right?
Yeah, you kind of took that week off because that's how I roll. Only did 40 deals this past year and stuff, but I also only worked about 8 months of the year. So you
So
kind of
40
can't.
deals in 8 months. That's okay. And you took 4 months off?
Pretty much, yeah. Had a lot of family stuff that I wanted to help out with, and because I can do this anywhere and I have systems in place, I was able to just kind of cut some time off and be very present for my family, which is very important to me. So it's been
Right.
wonderful.
Exactly. So what we are going to do in this over this 5 days here together, we're going to go into what Michelle, my wife Michelle, and I, who's the other co-founder of the Land Profits Method, and I call the God Zone. And the God Zone is not meant in some kind of like blasphemic or bad way. It's simply the way the zone of where you become the creator of your own life. Because at the end of the day, guys, you are responsible for your own life. Can we all agree with that? Right? It's not the government's job. Who cares who is the government? Who cares who is the president? It doesn't freaking matter. We have done this business since 2002. My wife and I have done over 5,000 deals. We have done thousands of deals from anywhere in the world while traveling, while on vacation, while being at home. Like we've been doing this with a very small team. And we've been doing this from anywhere. In 99% of these properties, we have never, ever even seen.
Right.
Right? So the point here is, it doesn't matter. We've started this under Clinton. We've done this under Bush. We've done this under Obama. We've done this under Trump. We've done this under Biden. We're doing this and continue to do this under Trump. It does not matter who is president, guys. What we are showing you is how you can create your own economy. Please put that in the chat box. Create your own economy. Who would love to create an economy that is absolutely irrespective, that is absolutely separate from anything you see out there? Just simply stand on your own 2 feet. Doesn't matter what interest rates do. Doesn't matter what the economy does. Doesn't matter who is president. You simply make money. Do we
Right.
like that? Okay, that's what we're going to do here. So then fear no more, right? You don't have to be afraid. It's like if you like, let me ask you, by the way, a quick question. Who here is a beginner? Who here is beginning in real estate? For whom here is this all brand new? This is the first time you do something like that. Okay, Emerald, Joyce, okay. Who is new to real estate? Let's put it that way. Real estate, not just to land, but just overall to real estate. Beginner, okay, wow, a lot of people on there. Wonderful. Well, I have good news.
Yeah.
Real estate doesn't have to be complicated, right, Courtney? Why don't
Absolutely.
you give us a quick 2 minute introduction about yourself and your background so that we all see that real estate doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to have a real estate background because Courtney certainly does not have a real estate background.
No, well, hello everybody. Thank you for letting me join you today. My name is Courtney Kahlert, and it feels like a lifetime ago. My husband and I were in the restaurant industry. We were bartenders and servers, kind of living paycheck to paycheck, and we wanted something more. So we created this medical supply business here in the Phoenix Valley, and it gave us financial freedom, but I was tethered to this business. Great, I had money to take vacations, but guess what I was doing in the hotel till about 4 p.m. every day? I was working. So it was very frustrating and I wanted more. So that's when we found Jack and Michelle. And we took the time, even though I was still in my medical supply business, working 60, 70 hours a week. We carved out time, followed the program, and we got our first deal. And I had zero real estate experience. So, I mean, it was all, we just followed the steps. It was pretty much stupid easy, quoting another one of your first students. It's so stupid easy that we just made our first deal and made $25,000 profit. And we kind of failed forward on that deal because we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't answer the phone for months and finally getting back. And we still made it happen, long story short. And it was a no-brainer for me. Like, I made $25,000 in one deal. That's what I would make like in 3 months, working my butt off 60, 70 hours a week. And this was 10 hours a week. So I was done with that business. We sold it, and I've been all in land since 2018. And this is my main income. This is what I do. And I, like I said, normally work about 9 months a year. This past few years, I've only worked about 8 months a year. So you can't
And
beat
how
it.
many hours a week do you work usually at your business?
It varies since I take time off. So sometimes I do work like a full like 20, 30 hours. Like that's a busy week for me if I'm working 30. But on average, I mean, I probably work no more than 20 hours a week. I spend more time in my kitchen than I do working. So
All
I love.
right, guys, how about making $500,000 in 20 hours a week? Anyone okay with that? And how about starting this with about an hour a day, right? An hour a day. Now, I ask you guys, this is not a get rich quick program. If you're looking for a get rich quick program, you're at the wrong place. This is not an earnings claim, right? It took obviously Courtney and Casey a little bit to ramp up their business to the level that it is today, right? But the point is, once they put it in place, they're now running a 15 to 20 hours, let's say 20 hours a week business that makes them more than medical doctors make who are working in surgery all day long after 10 to 15 years in education. That's what we're going to talk about right now. But with that said, guys, let's jump right in. Let's jump into, we want to go start screen sharing. The first thing before I share my screen, so give me another 90 seconds before I share my screen, guys, we're going to be lots of demonstrations, exactly screen sharing, exactly how this works, where to go. What we're going to do is over this next 5 days is on day one, which is today, we're going to explain the concept to you, and we're also going to share with you where you want to do this, how to select the best areas in the United States to do this land business. Number two, because you can do this anywhere because you do it from home. We have people that live in South America and do deals in the US. We have people live in Europe that do deals in the US. We have people live in Asia that do deals in the US here using our strategy from the comfort of their respective homes. We have people traveling with their boat up and down the east coast of the United States doing deals using a Starlink satellite dish and doing deals from their boat. So you can do this from anywhere in the United States. That also means you can do this anywhere in the United States from anywhere. That means if you live in Manhattan, it doesn't mean there's no cheap land. Then you can do this in Oregon, or you can do this in Illinois, you can do this in Texas, or you can do this in New Hampshire. You can do this really anywhere you want to do it. So we're going to explain quickly the concept in a second. We're going to explain those things. But the first thing is that I want to cover right now is again that over the next 5 days today, we're going to explain the concept and where to get started, how to find these best areas in the United States to do these deals. Guys, who would like to know where to find the best areas? Like that's what we're going to cover today. Tomorrow we're going to go how to get the leads, how to contact these owners. Like we're going to talk about the 6-7 different, not 6-7, that's a different thing, but the 6 or 7 different. That's why I've got an 18-year-old daughter. I'm sensitized to all this 6-7 kind of talk here. I'm gonna yeah, now I'm distracted here for a second, but where I'm going to go and tomorrow we're talking about how to find these exact area, how to select these properties, how to contact these owners, the 6 to 7 different marketing strategies, etc., how to follow up on these owners, how to get deals on a contract. On Wednesday, we're going to talk about how to sell these properties. On Thursday, we're going to talk about how to actually take properties, large properties, and how to add a 0, 2 zeros, or even 3 zeros to your deal. So instead of making 10 grand or 20 grand, how about making $4 million on a deal? Anyone okay with that? We're going to talk about that on Thursday, and we're going to have a guest come in that is right now has a letter of intent by a developer, by a builder, by a nationwide home building company for a $4 million profit on their property, about $3.5 million. Let me not say $3.5 million. Anyone okay with that? We're going to show you that too. And we're even going to talk about how to systematize your business on day 5. So with that said, guys, what are we talking about? First of all, open your playbook, and in page 2 of the playbook right there, there's a little bit of a layout of how this works. So very simply, our strategy works such that what we do is we have perfected the strategy to find people who own pieces of land. There's a 95 million pieces of land in the United States. 60% of them are in private ownership. So that's about 50 million pieces of land that are in private ownership. At any given time, there's about 5% of them that don't want their land anymore. We'll talk in a second about why and what and so on, but they don't want it anymore. They don't care about it. Many times they have passed away. The heirs don't want it. They have perhaps gotten a divorce. They perhaps have life plans have changed, different reasons, and they give these properties up. We have perfected the strategy to find them and pick those properties up or put them under contract for pennies on the dollar. Typically, we like to focus on properties worth $30 to $1,000 to $1 million. We pick them up for anywhere from 20 to 60 cents on the dollar. And then we do what we do, one of two things. We simply go and either wholesale them and basically mark them up a little bit, make a $10, $20, $30,000 profit, or turn around and sell them with seller financing. So the very first thing we want to do right now is show you how that works, how that even works. All right? So, and then while we go along, we'll explain more details about what I just said. Okay, so the very first thing I want to share is where to go. So the most important part is that you understand you want to be, there's three kinds of land that we focus on. And the first kind of land is infill lots in the city. The second kind of land is land around larger cities. And the third kind of land is larger acreage in more recreational areas. So since 2 out of 3 is in or around the big city, we want to know where are the big cities that are growing in the United States. And one of the things you can do is very simply go to Google and just search for fastest growing cities in the US. And what comes up if we do this, there's right there, on US News, 25 fastest growing places in the United States. Well, let's click on it. And let's go see what it says. And what it says is the fastest growing one apparently is Wildwood, Florida, Hilton Head Island, Leander, Texas, okay, Palm Desert, Naples, Casa Grande, Arizona, Cephasville, what else do we have here? San Marcos, Bonita Springs, Daytona Beach, Lehi, Utah, New Braunfels, Texas. All right, there's different kind of places. Queen Creek, Arizona, okay, interesting. So Arizona pops up, Texas pops up, South Carolina, Utah, all these different places pop up. And Maricopa County is like round number 23. And here's what we want to do. Courtney, do we want to pick the fastest growing county in the area in the country?
No, the market's too hot for that. So you want something kind of outside of that that's in the path of growth of that large city.
Yeah, exactly. So think about it this way. If the hottest city in the country, whatever that was, something in Florida, you don't want to be there because even the last owner of real estate has realized that our last owner's land is that there's value to the land because they're going to get bombarded by builders. They're going to get bombarded by house flippers who can't find enough in many houses. Can't find enough houses to actually flip, so they're buying land and building houses from scratch. You're gonna everyone and their brother, land bankers, everyone and their brother is chasing these land owners in those super hot areas. You also don't want to be on the opposite. You don't want to be in an area that is absolutely dead. Because why would you not do you think you can get some bargain properties in a dead area? Guys, put it in the chat box.
Yes, you can.
Or Courtney, let's you answer it while the people put it in the chat box.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a dead area, you're gonna find some land?
Oh yes, you're gonna find land and then more land and more land, and you realize that it's not moving. So that's
you're gonna get thrown land. You can buy land for $100, right? Anyone wants land for $100? Be careful with that. You don't necessarily want that kind of land. You don't want those pieces of land for $100 because you can't sell them. Like if there's an area where there's nothing moving, well, of course people are gonna throw it at you, but that's not what you want either. So what you want, and this is just very simply thought out. Where are my left brain people? If you're a left brain person, this is made for you. If you're a right brain person, you can still put enough creativity into it to enjoy it, but it's a very logical system, guys. Like, I'm originally from Germany. I came here 28 years ago, 1997, or 29 years ago now, in 1997, with literally two suitcases, a bunch of student debt, and a dream. I finished my 1 year of college degree, met the love of my life, Michelle, who is now my wife of almost 25 years. She was also in college here in the US. We're both immigrants. I'm from Germany. She's from Honduras, Central America. We got our work permit, then we got jobs in the US, always legally in the country, and then and we want to add this these days, and then but then soon after a few years, we realized that the corporate America job with 2 weeks vacation, with working your butt off, I worked 80 hours a week. Michelle worked nights and weekends in finance and in accounting and finance, and I was in consulting. We worked our butts off left and right, and we couldn't gain any traction. We bought a house, and we were up in debt until here, and we soon enough realized that we needed to do something else, and we found real estate. So we started doing these real estate deals, and very quickly did we make more in that than we ever made in our jobs. But the point here is, again, we learned from this, we learned from this to create a system, a scalable, repeatable, and profitable system. Anyone okay with those three words? Scalable, repeatable, and profitable? Guys, put it in the chat box. Scalable, repeatable, and profitable. That's what this is all about. So we came, and within a couple of years, we started our land business. Within 6 months, we had retired all our debt, retired all our student debt, put a year's worth of living expenses on the sideline. Our green card arrived, the American permanent residency. We quit our jobs. 10 months after that, we were millionaires, guys. That's our journey, coming from nothing. My dad is a high school teacher. Michelle's mom is an elementary school teacher. Her dad passed away when she was young. My mom is a stay-at-home mom. Right? Both families, one-income families. We got to college, we built up this, and then 18 months after starting this business, we were millionaires. 2 years later, we were deca-millionaires. That's how fast this can grow, guys. If you suspend disbelief and just simply start believing that this is possible for you, particularly when you deal in real estate without tenants, toilets, and termites, without any buildings on it, without any inspections. Because what we essentially do is we find undervalued land, put it under contract, and then mark it up and sell it for a quick markup wholesale deal. Or the second way we sell these properties is actually with seller financing, and I'll talk about that in a second. Right. So with that said, and now people, Wayne says like 18 months is reasonable. Yes, well, having a job for 10 of those, that's quite reasonable. But now we have people actually have already beat us to it. Like a year before last, or last year also, one of our students did $1 million in 12 months. Now that doesn't mean you will do $1 million. This is not an earnings claim. This is not a promise. But the person has done it. And the year before, a person has done it. And the year before, people have hit $970,000. So the point is, if they can do it, if you're willing to put in what it takes to make that happen, then we can show you a path to $1 million. Excellent. Anyone okay with that?
Yes.
Anyone okay with that? All right. So with that said, let's go back into the thing. So we talked about these areas. Okay, and let me pick Maricopa County, which is like number 23. All right, so number 23 is a good number. So with that, let's say there's also another way that we can go. There's a thing called World Population Review. And by the way, guys, we actually gave you a handout. So the team is going to drop the link to the handout right now. The handout actually gives you our area selection criteria. We're simply giving them to you. Like, is that nice? Like, simply giving them to you. That tells us what we typically look for. And Courtney, you have done this forever. You can quickly, you have the handout ready by chance?
Of course.
Yeah, you want to quickly read them off while I'll prepare the next screen that I want to share?
Yeah, we're talking about the types of property we're looking for. So you guys, we want to look again for those infill lots. So if you're driving in a subdivision and you see like 30 houses and there's that one empty lot, there you go. That's your infill lots where it's kind of already been developed, but there's, a few vacant lots. Those are great because it shows that it's most likely buildable. And there's a desire there because there's already homes and people want to live there. So I like the infill lots a lot. We also have the large acreage. So those are for people that maybe want to, homestead a land, or, some of them allow for multiple homes. So maybe you want to have, a few homes so family can live together. So large acreage, usually those are outside of a large city. And then you're also going to have any of those areas that are about a couple hours away from a large city. Those are great for recreational. Like, who here wants to have like their own little, you know, farm or land that you can go play on recreational, drive your ATVs, go fishing, go hiking,
Go
have
mini
all that.
ranch, right?
Yeah, I would love that. I'm still looking for one here up in northern Arizona. I keep working that area in case I find my perfect property. I haven't come across my perfect property yet, but I work that area just for me personally, and in the I happen to get a few deals as well. So it's kind of funny how I'm not really trying to work that area, but I am, just because again, I'm looking for my perfect recreational area to go play
As a
on.
matter of fact, guys, put in the chat box. Who would love? Let's see. We talked about three kinds of areas that we focus on. Like in those Courtney just gave you the selection criteria. So first, infill lots. Infill lots, basically street, 35 houses, two empty lots. You flip those to the builders. You don't even have to get them cheap. You can get them for 60, 70 cents on the dollar, which is just a slight discount from market value, and then sell it to a builder for 90 cents on the dollar. So take a $100,000 lot, get it for 75, sell it for 95, make a $20,000 profit. Boom. The builder's excited because builders know how to build. They don't know how to market. So they don't know how to find off-market properties. They only know how to build. So they gladly pay retail, but in order to get another lot so they can put another house up there so you can make money when selling the property. The second kind of properties we are looking for is, again, outside of big cities, in the 1 to 10 acre parcels. Let me ask you a question. Who would love to have 2 to 5 acres, 20 minutes outside of town, that you could simply build a house on, be close to the city? In 20 minutes, you're back with your friends, you're back at the grocery stores, you're back at the ball game, you're back all those things, but you have space. You have space for a garden, you have space for chicken, you have space for a dog, you have space, you have quiet at night, you don't have a neighbor that's like 6 feet over, things like that. Yeah? Look at that. Yes, Marul, yes, absolutely. Yes, 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 absolutely. Now the same thing now to Courtney's question. Who would love to have your own mini ranch? How about an hour outside? The beauty of this business is that these properties are on fire right now. How about 40 acres, 60 acres, 100 acres, a couple of hours away from here? With the way this works these days, and yes, somebody gives heart. Let me see if I can make a heart come. There we go. We can make hearts pop up here, right? We can also make some fireworks happen here. There we go. So with the way the technology works today, with Starlink and things like that, you can have full-blown internet access 2 hours away from town, where 5, 6, 7 years ago, you couldn't even have cell phone reception, and you can actually operate your life, your business from over there. So this is why these properties are, why we focus on these properties. Infill lots are attractive to builders in the path of growth, like in the outskirts of city. They're also sometimes attractive to builders. They're attractive also to people like us that just simply want more space. They're attractive to future retirees that perhaps want to put an inexpensive mobile home on there. And then the large acreage is exciting for, again, for lots of affluent people that want their own mini ranch, or for the doomsday preppers, or for those homesteaders that just simply want to have more space. So now how do we find them? Very simply, let's go back into this. All right, so we find this. The second thing I wanted to share was World Population Review. On World Population Review, you can look at data by states, by counties. It shows you stuff like growth rate. You see, like here, Los Angeles County is shrinking, but Maricopa County is growing quite a bit. But that's over 10 years, so that's not that much. And also, you give the consideration size. Maricopa County is humongous, and so on. You can also look at it by other thing, by ranking comparison. You can have like economics. There's all kinds of beautiful little things that you can do there. But let's simply go to Zillow. Let's simply go to Zillow and pull up. I chose Maricopa County. Now, Maricopa County is humongous. Maricopa County is probably the size of Massachusetts. And because it's the entire area of Phoenix here. It's the entire area that's all around here. And it goes all the way down there. So we're not going to look, so you can look into the city, you can see that there's properties for sale, for sold, yellow means sold. But what we're going to do is we're going to go into the path of growth, right? Outside of the city of Maricopa County, which is basically where Phoenix is. And that is, I'm going to pull up maps at google.com and also pull up quickly if my internet is fast enough. Okay, there we go. I want to pull up, you see how that looks like there. Like in the outskirts, this is Maricopa County, this is Phoenix. But where I just pulled up is the west side of Phoenix. And what you can see there, if it comes up and when it comes up, is right out here. This is all empty. But the city is all over the place. The city is here. There's full-blown developments right there. There's full-blown developments here. There's a town called Buckeye right there. There's lots of farmlands. There's even development popping up here already, but most of this stuff is empty. And this is where we're looking at right now. So this is truly the path of growth. This is exactly, you saw the interstate dipping over here. Like you saw that dip over here, right there. And then it goes over there. This is exactly where we're looking at in this area. So if we look at here, what we'll find is I selected on Zillow, I selected home time, land, and I basically said, give me only the properties that have sold in the last 6 months. Now I can extend that to 12 months if I want, but let me do that just for fun of it. And I can see that in the last year, a lot of properties have sold over here. Now, what have they sold for? Like this tells me that there is, oh, look at that. The more I go in, the more pop up. So I can see these properties have sold for $40,000, $55,000, $43,000, $50,000. And if I look up what these properties are, this is 9 acres for $50,000. This is 4 acres for $43,000. This is 4 acres for $55,000. This is 4 acres for $43,000. So this seems to be an outlier, but basically in this area, 5 acres seem to be selling for about $45,000 to $55,000. Now I can also go into other areas. I can go into this area and I can go see, what is this? 55,000, that's 1.39 acres. So that's probably more of a subdivision, but properties are an acre in size. And I can see, but what I see is, remember, what did I tell you? The property is the kind of property that we're looking for in the outskirts of town.
Right.
1 to 10 acres. And the value of these properties is $30,000 to $1 million. That's what we're looking for. 20, 30, 20 on the low side, 30 is better. $30,000 to $1 million. Every single property that I just showed is exactly in that range. The next thing we want to quickly look at, Courtney, is what? Is like, is there, how big, how much demand is there? How many properties are selling? We're looking at just this little window here, right? We're going a little bit further. We look at this, just this little part here, 139 properties. If I go further out, I'll see that in this window here, 272 properties have sold in the last year. Right. Well, all I need to do is I need to go and change that to for sale and see, and under for sale, I see that there's 435 properties listed. Now, Courtney, is that a good ratio?
It's not bad. I prefer there to be a little bit more sold, like it a little, but it's definitely for us and how we market, it will absolutely work. So
yeah, I think it's a great ratio because there's a little bit more listed than it's sold, but right. There's a lot sold.
Right, that's exactly.
So that means that the properties listed in that area are probably not going to sell in a matter of a week. They might be selling in a matter of 4, 6, 8 weeks. Right. But they are, if you sell them, if you price them right, which obviously is what we do, right. Then you'll have them sold very, very quickly because there's a lot of demand. There's hundreds of people that have bought in just that little pocket in just the last year. Does that make sense, guys? We're giving you good value here? Again, so the concept that we're talking about here is very simple. Land is better than houses. Now, where here is my experienced real estate investors? Where are my house flippers? Any house flippers here? Any house flippers, guys? Omale is here. Okay, done some wholesaling. I'm a flipper. All right, yes, house flipper here. Okay, so this probably sounds familiar to you if you're a house flipper. You're struggling to get deals, right? There's a fierce competition for deals. You got to sit in people's kitchen tables very fast, because if you don't sit there, somebody else is going to close that deal very quickly. Then the market is currently stagnant a little bit on the housing side. I know a lot of people who are struggling with in the wholesaling or in the fix and flip market right now. And it's very money intensive when you do fix and flip, because you got to get a loan, you got to go those things and cost and then contractors and you name it and all this kind of stuff, right? So how would you like to eliminate all of those things out of your life? Anyone okay with that? Because when you do this with land, you're not dealing with sellers that are in despair. Usually these pieces of land are all free and clear. They have been owned in many cases for dozens of years. Right? I have 5 vacants and a ton of money sitting there, says Zoom user. I flip houses, yes. And contractors and builders and designer team and so on and so forth. Like, who here of my newbies, who here is afraid of getting into real estate because you have heard horror stories? Right? I get you. I understand. That's what we hear all the time. But again, let me explain how what we do here works. Right? So you need to be in the right area. That's the most important part. It's like the first domino. If you're in the right area, you're going to contact these owners and they're going to respond to you in large numbers. Then you're going to make them good offers and they're going to accept your offers. Then you're going to flip those properties because you got them a good price. You can mark them up a little bit. You get a $100,000 property for $50,000. You mark them up to 65. You make a quick $15,000. Because if your property, if everything else is on the market for $100,000 and you put yours up for $65,000 or $70,000, how long is it going to sit?
Months.
Right? Not very long at all. On top of it, you're not dealing with tenants, no termites, no toilets, no repairs, no cost overruns, as a matter of fact, the typical wholesale deal is done without even using your own money. Mm-hmm. Courtney, and typically what percentage of your deals do you do without using any of your own money?
A lot of times we use the end buyers, and actually I have one that should be closing in the next couple days where we're actually selling the note, but that's zero of my own money. So a lot of times I would say a good 60 to 70% I don't use my own money.
And for our beginning students, that is about 95%.
Correct.
So here's how this typically works. You find this $100,000 piece of land under you find a property, you send them, we like to send them to market them. We talk about tomorrow which way we market them. We have 6 different ways to market to the owners. And then they contact you back and you make them an offer. So let's say you offer them $50,000 for the property. Do you need to have $50,000 for that deal? No. And the answer is, if you have, great, but you don't need to use it. You can use that for other things. You can use it for education. You can use it for more marketing. You can use it for whatever you want. You can keep it in the bank, right? So what you do is you put it under contract. Mm-hmm. And because our sellers have owned these properties for 30 years, they're free and clear, you get a contract where you lock that property up for several months in a row. Then you go market it, and you put it up on the market for $70,000, which means it's the bargain of the market. Everything else is for sale for 100, yours is for 70. So who's going to get all the eyeballs? And who's going to get all the contact requests? Yours. So if your property is a good property, soon enough somebody's going to say, yeah, I want this property. And then what you're going to do is you have actually a second contract. You have a contract with the seller for 50. You have a contract with a buyer for 70. You now take both of these contracts and you put them into the title company. The title company is going to open 2 sets of escrow. A title attorney is going to open 2 sets of escrow, going to do all the title work and all the paperwork and all the stuff, sends out to everyone. You do not have to show up at the title company. They send a notary public to your home. You sign a few pieces of documents, then you send it back. And then what you're going to do is the buyer is going to wire in the $70,000. And then the title company is going to take from that $70,000, $50,000, send it to the seller. They keep $2,000 for themselves, and they send $18,000 to you. You just did a land wholesale deal, making $18,000 cash in your pocket without using a dollar of your own money for that deal. Who likes that? Particularly my newbies, if you didn't know that exists, that is how real estate deals are done all over the country. That is how 95% of our deals are being done.
Yep. Absolutely.
The next benefit is that the contract that we use allows you to back out of that agreement anytime for any reason. So in other words, you put the deal under contract for $50,000 and you find out that it is environmentally, that is polluted, that is thing, which is one of the checks. The moment you have it under contract, we'll talk about that tomorrow and on Wednesday. The moment you have it under contract, you check everything possible on that property to make sure it's a good property. You find out anything you don't like, you simply back out of that deal. In other words, you will never get stuck with a bad deal.
Absolutely.
Who likes that? Particularly my newbies and my experienced guys. How about that? Like, I know you do that in the house world too, but in the house world, there's all kinds of additional contingencies. On top of it, we don't even put an earnest money deposit down.
No,
So you literally have zero money in the deal.
that is correct.
Like, same thing in attorney states. It's exactly the same thing.
Yes.
Like, that's the premise of what we're going to show you over the course of the week. So the very first part of that is, and Courtney, you wanted to say something. Sorry,
No, I just wanted to validate what you just showed everybody. I don't know if you guys realize the value what Jack just showed you of how to pick the area, because this is how you start. And I literally did that last week. I do it once a quarter where I go in, I Google the path of growth, exactly what he said. I use World Population Review to double check that. I use Google to make sure the area looks good. And oh, here's a large city. I like this side because there's lakes or whatever. But I just did exactly what Jack just showed you guys. I do it once a quarter to find my areas. And I hope you guys realize, like, you could start picking areas now because he showed you exactly what I do. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, and that was step by step. And it works. I work 8 months a
And
year.
we can repeat it in different areas right now. Actually, let me go into a different area right now and just do the same thing. We showed you, this is Maricopa County, right there, Phoenix area. You look at that, there's 525 sales in this area. There's 645 sold, so it's an almost one-on-one relationship. That's exactly what we're looking for. But I can also go into a different area. I can go pull up, let's say, the greater Atlanta area. Now, Atlanta is a huge metropolitan area, so we don't want to be in Atlanta only for the infill lots. We want to be in Atlanta, but for the other properties, we want to be outside of Atlanta. So where does Atlanta end? Let's look at that. Where does Atlanta end? Well, I can also look at it up here. I can simply change this from map view to satellite view here. And it shows us where do those development areas end. Well, they continue on here, they continue on there, and then they kind of like end in an area. If I switch this back over to the map view, there's like this area called Addisonville or so, Adders something will, and an area called Rome here. Like it's just somewhere a little bit further out. Like it is Atlanta. There we go. Somewhere out here, it kind of ends. So then, therefore, let's look at this area. This is now the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia. There's an Interstate 75, which is very interesting because if you're outside of Atlanta, you might still work in Atlanta. Like there's many people that actually move further away from town. Like after COVID, when everyone went home and worked from home, still to this day, about 1/3 of Americans still work from home. That means 50 million Americans work from home, guys. 50 million. That is worldwide, by the way, the same thing. In my hometown in Germany, which is a small town about an hour and a half drive from Stuttgart, Germany, a good friend of mine is an engineer at Mercedes-Benz. Last year, he moved back to his hometown, to my hometown, simply because he has his friends there, he has his childhood friends there, he's part of clubs, he's part of the organization, he's part of the local community, his uncles and aunts, his cousins, his family is there. So now what he does, he works 4 days of the week from home, and 1 day of the week, he drives 100 miles, which on the German Autobahn is only an hour, but he drives 100 miles into Stuttgart, into the headquarters, works 10 hours there. It's an extra long day. and then comes back at 8 p.m. But 6 days of the week now he gets to stay home. Like, how cool is that, right? And that is how the world is today. So as a result, what's happening is that a lot of the people are pushing to the outskirts of bigger cities because they want that calmer lifestyle. Again, let me show by the show of hands who would love that calmer lifestyle of being a little bit outside of town, but with access to everything in the city when you need to be there. Put in the chat box or give me a thumbs up and things. Yeah, there we go. Me, heck yes, yes, yes. Lots of thumbs ups coming through here, and lots of hearts and bullet like the bull's eyes and things like that. Yeah. That's exactly what's happening. So now you get to be the person that provides the land for them, because there's millions of owners that own that land and they live somewhere else. They don't know what their growth is. In many cases, these are heirs. In many cases, they forgot you get the properties to divorces. In many times, life and circumstances change. Like for example, like Michelle and I, like we're empty nesters pretty much now, right? The daughter is about to go to college, and when she's off to college, we're going to just sit there looking at each other, and we're like, we want to be closer to her. And let alone 10 years from now, 15 years from now, when she has kids, I'm not going to move to the West Coast if my daughter's on the East Coast. Perhaps I had plans to buy a lakefront lot somewhere, but if my daughter, my only daughter and their kids live in Boston, I'm going to want to move that direction. And all of a sudden, that lot that looked like a good idea as a retirement spot is no longer a good idea. And then I have to pay property taxes every single year on that thing, perhaps HOA fees, and I don't want to do this anymore. And since I paid for it 30 years ago, at that point in the future, I'll be like, just give me something to get rid of the burden of property ownership. Just give me something so I don't have to pay HOA fees and property taxes anymore. I don't even care what I get for the property. This is fundamentally different than in the house world, right, Courtney?
Absolutely. Very different.
Like, you're finding, what are kind of the typical conversations that you have with sellers when they talk to you?
Oh, a lot of them, the property has been a burden, or they inherit it and they've never even seen it. That's the majority of the properties we get, where it's like, I've never even been there. So they're happy to have cash in their pocket. I'm coming as a problem solver. You have a burden property, here, I'm going to give you cash for it. So, and you create a win-win situation. Actually, I call it a win-win-win situation, because it's a burden property for that seller. They get cash. They don't have to do anything, but just, give me a little bit of time to do my due diligence and, take care of a few paperwork, and they get cash in their pocket. My buyer gets it under market value because I sell under market value. So they get a great deal and I get profit. Win-win-win. Like, so I sleep great at night. Like, this is, we buy, hold, and sell vacant land, but really I'm a problem solver. I'm helping people get rid of their burdens and making their life better. It was a few years back, but we had a woman, and it was right before Christmas, and we gave her, I think it was $1,000 for a property, and she was crying over the phone saying, like, you just made my family's Christmas. Now, we ended up making about $23,000 on that property. So, of course, we did the right thing and sent her like hundreds of dollars worth of Walmart gift cards so she could buy Christmas presents with that and, keep that $1,000 for her, because, we were grateful receivers of that $23,000 profit off of $1,000. So, and I didn't use any of my own money for that. So, not only these sellers are happy to work with you. I have many sellers who've worked with realtors and didn't get the job done. And they want to work with us because they know that I'm not a realtor. They know that I'm not a licensed realtor and stuff, but they want to work with somebody because they said, the realtor couldn't sell it. Can you? And yeah, I can. I know I can. I've been doing this for 10 years. So, and I keep open and honest communications with them, check in, like every 2 to 3 weeks with them. And they are happy as can be because they don't have to do much besides have a friendly conversation with me and receive a cash. So
exactly right. And that actually, right, there's some great questions out there too. Some people say like, how do you find buyers for the land? Guys, this is a 5-day masterclass. Today we're laying out the concept and showing you how to find the best areas to do this. Tomorrow we're going to show you how to actually get these deals and how to contact these owners and what methods we use and how we follow up and how to get these deals under contract. Wednesday we're going to talk about how to go and find these buyers and sell these properties. So Penny, make sure that, or not Penny, Rebecca, make sure that you attend all these 3 sessions. They build on top of each each other. And if you miss one, make sure you watch the replay to the other one. And then and somebody else is saying, Penny's asking, like, so this, are we focusing on properties that are already listed? No. As a matter of fact, occasionally you come across a property that's already listed, but no, we are going to show you tomorrow how to find off-market properties. There's 60 million pieces of land in private ownership. Out of those 60 million, perhaps 2 million are listed. That means there's 58 million pieces of land that are not listed. And at any given time, 5% of them the owners do not want anymore. So that means there's somewhere around 3-4 million pieces of land that the owners do not want. A fraction of them is listed. The vast majority is not listed. The vast majority, they're just simply sitting there and bemoaning that they have it and like lamenting that they're like, oh man, that property tax bill came again. I don't want to pay this thing anymore. My kids don't want the property. One of these days I'll get around to sell it. And they just want to get rid of this property. Now, why would we be able to sell them fast and for profit? Courtney just mentioned it, because we have a better marketing strategy. Most realtors, now realtors is an option these days, we'll talk about that on Wednesday, because realtors have caught on now. Finally, realtors understand that land is on fire, land is growing, is a growing market, is the hot market of the 21st century now, and it's absolutely of the 2020s and so on. Since COVID, land has been on fire. It's continued to be on fire. It's going to be more and more on fire, particularly with Starlink and all these technological advances allowing you to set up camp on a piece of land that 5 years ago didn't even have cell phone reception. You can do everything there. You can go out there now and find all this land is fair game, like with the particularly outside of towns, the land is opening up. And but the point is, realtors up till a few years ago had no clue how to sell that land. It's very, very different to sell a piece of land than a house. And we're going to cover that on Wednesday, how to sell a piece of land. But we market, and then again, we only mark them up a little bit. Or what we also love to do is sell these properties for seller financing. But first, let me share with you another way, quick way, another kind of area to look at properties. So again, we had this, we did that in Atlanta. We went outside of the city, we went into this kind of area, and we looked around and we said, okay, what's happening out here? Which property, where are we here? We're outside of this area. Great. This is Atlanta area. This is Marietta, Georgia. This is Atlanta. Somewhere out here would be a good area to go after. Well, let's zoom in over there and let's see. Let's see over here. We see 285 properties have sold. How many are for sale? 256. Again, a perfect one, a great ratio. We look at what have they sold for. We see 20,000 to 220,000. We look at here, most of them are in the exact price range that we're looking for, like 65, 72, 300, 45, 45. There's no garbage land. Most of it is like really beautiful land. Perfect. That sounds like a great area, right? Or how about we can go, or how about Orlando? How about if I want to generally know, how do I even go after these areas? Well, I can pull up an area like Orlando, and Orlando is right here, and I can say again, just like I just did, where do the areas end here? Where do these big developments end? And I can see on the northeast side, the big developments end right around here. Okay, so I zoom back out, and I just click on here, and I say, where am I? And I'm in Seminole County. Great, Seminole County. Let's go in Seminole County, and at that point, what I can do is I can pull up our investment dominator software. I can pull up our, for example, one of the CRMs that this is a CRM that we have created, the software we created, and I can go in here and I can say, okay, you know what? Let me find some deals. I can say, I want to create new criteria. I want to go into, let me pick Georgia again, right now where I just was. And I want to say this area that was just above, that we had just looked at here. This area is, I think, has the county name for it is something with, let's just go into that area. We should be able to just move there here. Was the Bartow County. All right, Bartow County was the area. Okay, if I go into Bartow County, first of all, I have thousands of records, 3,695 land records are available in that county that I can download. So I'm already doing a sneak preview for tomorrow for in there. But most importantly, what I would do is I would go into this area and I would look at how many have sold, how many are listed. This all makes sense. The price ranges are right. Then you can switch over into one of our softwares and simply pull the data down and then contact people from there. How cool is that? But now the second way that we send, does that sound easy, guys? Gerald, I'm in the desert. It doesn't matter where you are. I have people sitting in Germany doing deals in the United States. I have people sitting in Chile, South America, doing 50, 100 deals in the United States. I have people sitting in Manhattan doing deals in Idaho. I have people sitting in LA doing deals in New Hampshire. I have people sitting in New Hampshire doing deals in Alaska. It doesn't matter where you live because this is virtual land real estate investing. The last time I have personally gone in my car, drove out to see a piece of land that I was about to flip was 18 years ago. For the last 18 years, I have not yet seen any kind of pieces. I have not seen any of the land that I have flipped. Yep. Courtney, when is the last time you have seen a piece of land that you flipped?
Well, we purposely chose to work out of state so we wouldn't be tempted to go check out the land. So my first, I would say 8 years, I never saw property. Somehow I ended up not even marketing. It just, you do this long enough, leads come in. I got some property near where I live. I like road trips, so I don't just go see the property. We go like wake up early and go for a hike in the area because again, out in Arizona, there's so many natural forests and everything. So just recently, I have seen a couple of my properties for the first time, and that's only because I like road trips. I didn't have to, but I'm a dork like that. I love to make an adventure out of it. There's so many cool things to do out here. So I'm always like, well, this is near the area, so let's go check this out. And while we're there, swing by the property. But it is not needed, guys. Like, again, for 8 years, I never saw a single property. It's only because I'm a dork and like road trips.
Exactly right. So again, and all of this, so you do this from anywhere in the country and you select those areas, and then we use two ways to sell the property. The first one was wholesaling. Simply take that $100,000 property, put it under contract for 50 and sell it for 70 and use the buyer's $70,000 to pay everyone in the transaction, right? We covered that already. The second kind of property, the second kind of deal we like to do, particularly when we get properties cheap. Like let's say you get a $40,000 property for $8,000. It's a $40,000 piece of land, just like I showed them in Maricopa County. There's lots of 40,000, just like I showed right now in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. There are lots of properties in the $45,000, $40,000, $50,000 range. You get one of these deals from somebody who's just like passed away. The heirs live in New York City. The property is in Georgia. They don't care about it. They don't want about it. The last thing an heir wants is a property tax bill. What do heirs want, guys? Put it in the chat box. What do heirs want? Heirs want money, right? Heirs want money. Guys, by the way, in the chat box, let's make sure we only comment to what we are talking about here. There's like all kinds of like side conversations going on. Let's eliminate those and let's just focus on what we talk about here. So yes, heirs want money. So it's very possible and very likely that you get a property. Courtney talked about getting a property for $1,000 plus some gift cards and making $23,000, $30,000 on that deal. So you get a $40,000 property for $8,000. What do? Two choices. Choice one, you turn around and sell the property for $25,000. 25 minus 8 minus closing costs, you make a $15,000 profit. The second strategy is you actually mark it up to almost market value, let's say to $40,000. And under normal circumstances, it would now sit on the market for a long time. Mm-hmm. For normal circumstances, it would just simply sit there and it would not sell because it would take half a year to sell. Because land at market value and you asking for cash often takes a long time to sell. Let's be honest about that, right? I'm never gonna bullshit you over these 5 days here. I'm gonna tell you the truth. But there's a different way to sell this property that it flies off the shelf. And that is by offer seller financing. Now, what is seller financing? Very simple. Seller financing is simply that you say, hey, I'm gonna offer you this property for $40,000, but you don't have to have $40,000. If you just have 20% as a down payment,
Mhm.
then I'm willing to allow you to pay the rest off in monthly payments over the next 10 plus years. So in this particular case, let's take a slightly different example because I've got the numbers for the different example right in my head. And that example is like, say it's a $50,000 property and you can get it under contract for $10,000. Now you go put it on the market for 50 grand, but say seller financing, just put 20% down. People are going to look at that property like, oh my God, I don't have 50 grand, but it's my dream property. It's the perfect property. I want to retire there. I want to build a garden there. I want to put the house there. It's a gorgeous property. I want it. So now what they do is they give you $10,000 down, or perhaps $11,000 or $12,000 down. You take that money, and now the remaining, let's say if they gave you 12 down, the remaining $38,000 they're going to pay off in monthly payment of $500 a month for the next 14 years. Now let's think about that. Did you spend $10,000 to buy the property? No. You had it under contract for $10,000 with no earnest money deposit and the close of escrow being 3 months from now. So now you look for a buyer. The buyer comes, the buyer signs an agreement that says, I'll pay you $12,000 and the rest in $500 a month payment. You take both documents, put it to the title company or to the title attorney. They do the paperwork, everyone signs everything. The buyer puts $12,000 in, the title company takes 10, sends it to the seller, takes 2, keep it to yourself. You just bought a property and sold a property with none of your own money, but now you have what's called a note. You have a mortgage document that says that you have the right to collect $38,000 in monthly payments of $500 a month. By the way, since you have to wait for your money, can you ask for interest? Yes. You can ask for 12, 13, 14, 15% interest. I like to charge 13%. Many of our students charge 15%. So now this person pays you $500 a month for the next 14 years. That's $6,000 a year. Over 14 years, that's $84,000. $84,000. Anyone okay with making $84,000 over the next 14 years with no money in the deal?
Yes.
You do not have to have a real estate license to do this because you're not a realtor. You actually bought the property for 5 minutes and then sold it. You became a principal in the transaction. You just didn't use your own money. The money came from the buyer. Right? Now the question is always, what happens if that person stops paying?
Oh, well, you resell it.
Yeah, who has that question, guys? Who has that question? What if they stop paying? Your credit score does not come in at all. The credit score does not matter. What happens if that person stops paying? Remember, how much money do you have in the deal? Zero. Zero. The buyer is paid $12,000. The title company kept to use 10 to pay the seller. You have put no money into that deal. From the very first monthly payment, this is profit to you. So you get $500 in month 1, $500 in month 2, $500 in month 3, $500 in month 4, you get the point. After 12 months, you have $6,000. After 2 years, you have $12,000. If after 2 years that person stops making payments, what happens? You foreclose on them, which might cost you $500, $1,000, depending what state it is. And some states will show you how you can foreclose in 45 days and $57. So worst case, it costs you $1,000 in a few months to foreclose. Then you own the property again and you resell it. And what happens when you resell it? You get another $12,000 down payment.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be a good day?
Yeah, it's never our goal. We always want everybody to purchase their land. You know, our mission is to help as many landowners out there. But when somebody stops paying, it's like, oh, well, I technically make more money. So, I mean, that's not what I want. I want them to pay it because I'm already making good money. And that's, you know, my mission is to help as many landowners out there or help as many people become landowners. But, you know, for them to not pay, it's like, oh darn, I get to make more money because it sold once. It already had, and I have a buyer's list, so it's easy. It's so easy to sell it once it comes back because I just
Yeah.
call up the people that wanted
You,
it in the first
you got
place.
your marketing material ready, you got your buyer's list ready, you got your realtor ready, you got your documents ready, you got everything ready. You just simply put it back out there, sell it in a few weeks again, and boom, get another 12,000. It's like the worst case scenario is you make more money. Who likes that? I like that as a worst case scenario.
Right.
Like, and of course they can pay it off at any time and so on. So now we have two ways to sell these properties. Two ways to sell these properties. Woohoo, the balloons are right. Two ways to sell these properties. And some fireworks. Let's get some fireworks going here too. There we go. So that's what we're talking about here too. That's what we're going to lay out over the course of this week. But let's actually, guys, with that, I want to go to one extra part, and that is actually just talk about there's a third kind of property that we focus on, which we'll talk about on Thursday, which is actually a more, this is just scratching the surface, but what we'll talk over the course of the week, we'll get into more complex kind of deals. We'll get into more sophisticated deals. We talk about land splitting. We talk about land development. We talk about making millions of dollars a piece of land, particularly on Thursday. We're going to have a guest come in that is just right now closing a deal that he's going to make $3.5 million on. And it's a development deal. A piece of land that he worked with the city, he put the plan, got plans approved, they're about to be approved, and a large nationwide builder has already submitted an offer for a $3.5 million profit on that deal. So we're going to show you how that works, because if you want to learn that, you're at the right place too, because we are the only company out there that covers land from A to Z. Everyone out there is a one-trick pony that do one thing. We're the only ones that whatever you come across in the land space, you are at the right place. Right? So with that said, I want to talk about one thing. What are your dreams, guys? What is your big why behind this? Because we actually are going to have a homework too. We're going to have homework, and part of the homework today is for you to dream big. Because I asked you already earlier, suspend disbelief for just a few days and just start believing that it might be possible that you can actually break out of what you're doing today and find a way to make money, just like Courtney and Casey, that you guys started out being waiters at TGI Friday and Cheesecake Factory. Right?
Yep.
Then you started the small business on yourself that tied you to your desks. And now you're living the life of traveling around the world and living and working 20 hours a week, spending more time in the kitchen cooking because you guys love cooking than you spend in your business, working only 8 months of the year, taking 4 months of the year off. Who wants that lifestyle, guys? Right. So suspend disbelief for a moment that this, and agree with me that this is possible. And it's the perfect time of the year. It always is the perfect time of the year to actually go and map out that next 12 months. So if you map out your next 12 months, guys, I want to ask you, what are your goals? What do you think you can accomplish in a 12-month period? Now, that is not an earnings claim. This is not a promise. That is not something. I just want to know, what do you think? If the average profit that our students are doing is $15,000, which means sometimes you make 3, sometimes you make 50.
Right.
Sometimes you make 100. And then occasionally you make $3.5 million. Rarely, but if you put in the work, you do that too. What do you think you can accomplish in 1 year in this business? Now, here's the thing. Dreams and New Year's resolutions and any kind of like goal setting, things like that is beautiful, but it doesn't work unless you do an extra step. Mm-hmm. So put in the gene time in there, 1 million, 100K. What else do you put in there? Let me see that there. I can see how this works. And I would go for 25 properties in the first 6 months, 120K, a million, pay off debt, okay, 50K, good, whatever it is. I quit my job last Friday to go all in. Lemmo, that's amazing, good. Not saying you guys should do this, absolutely not. Like 95% of our customers probably do this part-time, build this up, and then eventually transition out of their job if they want to. Many are running a multi-$100,000 business and still do their job because they love their job. That job doesn't pay them much, right? So there's one step that almost everyone is missing. And that step is not just to have a big goal, because a big goal is a big nice to have. Like, I don't know, I have a goal to grow hair back. I don't have that much hair left. Right? So great, I have a goal. But unless it becomes urgent and important, you're not going to do anything about it.
Right.
You know the story. People go to the doctor, and the doctor says like, hey, if you don't stop smoking, or if you don't stop eating sweets, or if you don't lose 100 pounds, we're gonna amputate your leg. Now it became urgent and important,
Right.
and now they changed their habits. And I've seen people lose a lot of weight. Seen people stop smoking. If the kid comes to dad, they're like, Dad, I hear if you smoke, you're gonna die. Don't die, right? And that strikes you in your heart, and the knife twists, you might stop smoking. When it becomes urgent and important, we change our behaviors. So in other words, if you want to change something in your life, if you want this next 12 months to look different than the last 12 months, and we started this session by looking back and saying like, how did the last 12 months go? How did the last 2-3 years go? What went well? Are you a starter, not a finisher? Well, you need to commit to changing something, but committing to it is not enough. You need to dig deep into reasons why. And let me do a quick analogy on that. Let me show something on that end. And perhaps something that helps. This shows the average, this shows 100 years. This spreadsheet, this thing here shows 100 years. So this is what most people can, somewhere there is where we all live, right? Some people live to 100. Well, let's look at that. In the United States, the life expectancy for women is 82 years old. That means if you are 49 right now, this is what you have left. This is what you have left. If you're 64, this is what you have left. The yellow one, if you have left. So you look at that, and it's like, no, I don't have unlimited time. I only have this time, and if out of that time, part of it, I want to be all of that time healthy and traveling and fit. Because also there's another thing here. Most Americans only have a health span that goes until about 64. And starting around that age to develop health issues. So that all those things you wanted to do when you're old, you might not be able to do anymore because you're not healthy enough for it. So if you're 49, you might not have all this health span until you're 82. You might only have 15 years left before your health span gives up and you're not able to keep up anymore, and you're spending more time at the doctor and you're not walking anymore and things like that. Guys, this is not a scare tactic. This is something to keep in mind for you guys as you look at how much time do I really have. The same for men. Man's average age in the United States, life expectancy is 77. 77, that means your health span, if you start having health issues also at 65, 66, if you're 55 right now, I'm 55 right now, if I don't do anything about that, I have 10 years left before my health, on average, statistically seen, gets in the way of me enjoying the rest of my life. Right? A 60-year-old man might have 5 years left. Guys, you don't have time to postpone the urgent decisions in your life. If you want to make money, if you want to be financially free, if you want to enjoy the life and travel and have the boat and have the house and have the vacation and just simply know that your retirement is taken care of, you don't have forever to make these decisions, right? However, there's two things that influences all of that. There's two things that influences that. And Jeffrey, I'm terribly sorry to hear that. Right? My wife just passed at 77. She didn't make the 82 average lifespan. You truly understand what I'm talking about here. But there's two things that affect this, both health and lifespan. And you know what those things are? Income. Once you make it into the top 10% of income, 5% of income, your life expectancy goes up by 10 freaking years. Look at that. This is the income. Red is women, black is blue is men. Like if you're in the bottom, if you're basically homeless, your income, your life expectancy is like almost nothing. It's like 73, 72 for women, 70 something for men. But, or no, the 70 something for women and 73 for men. If you're in the 20% income bracket, you're pretty much normal. If the 40%, 60%, it's all still up there. But the moment you're like in the 90 percentile, Your life expectancy for a woman is 88 years old. And for the man, you're now at 83, 84, 85. Guys, the best thing you can do to actually add another decade to your life is become freaking wealthy. Become wealthy. Because all of a sudden, you have more money. Now, why is that? First of all, who wants to die if you have a bunch of money and you enjoy life? First of all, life is so much fun. You have more money to eat healthier, and you will eat healthier. Like, I see most of the people who are making good money, they're actually, after a while, they're like, I gotta stay in shape, so I actually enjoy this. So they eat healthier, they work out, and then you have, and also you have money for better medical care.
Absolutely.
You have money for medical care. So guys, one of the things that I want you to do here is very important. Right now, before we're gonna share our homework, is not just for what the homework for tomorrow. Each day we're going to give homework. Today we're going to raffle off a book bundle. So I have a book bundle here, and I'm going to share in a second what that book bundle is. But in that book bundle, we're going to give away, what you want to do is the following. We have a Facebook group, the Land Profit Nation. So if you search Facebook, if you're not yet in the group, team, put the link to the Facebook group, Land Profits Nation. If you go into Land Profits Nation Facebook group, join it. The moment the session is over, the team is going to drop a Facebook post in there. And the Facebook post is going to have the homework, and I'm going to read it off in a second. What you're going to do is below that Facebook post, you're going to click on comment, and in the comments, you're going to answer the following question. What is your deepest why, and what is your 1-year goal to make it happen? Again, the 1-year goal is not your why. Your why is that 1-year goal important? Why is that $1 million important? Why is that 250K important? Why is that 50K important? Why is that 150K important? Why are these 25 deals important? Why are the 300K important? Why is it? What is it that makes it urgent and important right now? What's going to happen if you don't make it? Who's going to die if you don't make it? Extreme case, like, but like what happened with us is like when we figured this business out, in parallel, at the same time, my dad's health started to decline. And we realized my dad was a high school teacher for 41 years, and he just was sick and tired of doing it. All he ever wanted, he enjoyed it for the majority of his time, but he was done. His nerves were shot. The kids were getting on his nerves. He wasn't the best teacher anymore. He wasn't doing anyone a favor of being a teacher anymore. And he realized it, but he couldn't retire because on a single teacher salary, he brought 2 kids to college, paid off a house, and he was broke basically. He had a house, but on that he had no money, no retirement savings. We had figured out this method. So Michelle and I looked at each other and says like, this just becomes one reason why we need to make this big, fast. This becomes urgent to put the pedal to the metal. And just 6 months later, we were able to travel to Germany, sit my dad down, ask him to retire, gave him the money that he needed to bridge the time until he got his retirement pension or something like that. And then, so he didn't have to, so we were able to retire my dad 3.5 years earlier. If we had not done that, I believe my dad might have not made it even to retirement. He would have died before retirement. Now, we don't know that for sure, but that's my conviction. So in other words, find something. What health things? Who in your family needs money for surgery? And you now have just figured out a way that potentially when you implement this could get you to the point that you can be the benefactor of the family and help them live longer, right? What about your own family? What about your own job? Are you never seeing your kids? Perhaps it needs to be super urgent that you make this happen so you can quit your job and and spend your time with your family, just like Courtney and Casey can, and then spend extensive time with their loved ones. Like, those are things that are becoming urgent and important. What are those things? What is it that you're making that money for? Is, in other words, the answer. You guys get this? Give me a heck yes.
Heck yeah.
Right? So with that said, guys, here's the thing. Amongst those that are participating in this, we're going to give away a book bundle. Tomorrow we're going to give away something else. And then on Wednesday, or Wednesday or Thursday, we're going to give away a $5,000 partial scholarship to one of our programs. But in order to participate in that, you got to participate at all the homeworks. So you can't skip today's homework and only participate on Wednesdays. No, you got to participate today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So make sure you participate in this homework right now. And today, as an incentive to participate right now, we're going to give away a book bundle. And the book bundle is the following. Start with why. I don't have to say more, right? We just talked about the why. Simon Sinek, Starting with Why, great book. Number 2, The Year of Yes, a great book by Shonda Rhimes, the author of, like, the writer behind so many Netflix and other kind of TV shows, Grey's Anatomy and so on. She apparently was very, like, saying no, no, no to everything, and then she changed her attitude and said yes to things, and it changed her life. Number 3, extreme ownership. Why extreme ownership? Because at the end of the day, it's all up to you. Guys, it's up to you. You need to make the decisions. You need to do the work. We can be here, give you all the help in the world, all the motivation in the world, all the tools in the world. But if you don't take ownership of your own life, nobody's going to do it for you. Number 4, Never Split the Difference. Great negotiation book. And number 5, Unshakable, Tony Robbins, a great finance book. So with that said, guys, what's going to happen is, at the moment this is over, we're going to go into you go to the Facebook group, like Land Profits Nation. The team's going to put the link here right now, again, one more time. Land Profits Nation Facebook group. And inside the Land Profits Nation, if you go to the top on featured, there's also the replay for today. And we also have a separate replay page at landflippingreplay.com. But go into the Facebook group, right the moment we're done, the team's dropping a post. You go under a homework post with a homework question. You go below that, you click on comment, and you comment why. Comment the answer to the following question. What is your deepest why, and what is your 1-year goal to make it happen? What is your deepest why, and what is your 1-year goal to make it happen? Meaning, in other words, how many deals are you going to do? What money are you going to make? And why is this so freaking important right now? Why is it urgent? Why is it important? And then we're going to raffle off 2 winners, actually not just one. 2 people are going to win this book bundle. And then we'll see you tomorrow when we're going to talk about how to actually contact these owners. Because I shared with you multiple ways right now, different ways to find these properties, infill lots, path of growth, the larger acreage. We talked about wholesaling. We talked about seller financing. Talk about doing deals without your money. We're talking about the contract that you can back out for any time, for any reason. We talked about the fact that you can do this from anywhere. We talked about the fact that you can do this on an hour a day. Right? We're going to reverse engineer tomorrow how you can do a deal a month or a couple of deals a month on a couple of hours a day. Right? And then we'll see you guys tomorrow. It's the same link at 9 a.m. Pacific. 12 p.m. Eastern. Courtney, thank you very much for being my co-host. Do you have any last words you want to share with us?
No, well, yeah, actually, I always do, right? So, as you guys are thinking about your why, I already know everybody on this call and everybody that's watching the replay, we all probably have the same why, and it's financial freedom. But what you really want is you want to own your own time. And I am living proof that you can do this. I own my own time. I was able for 4 months in a year be there for my family when my mom needed help just because she had health issues and needed help getting out of the home she lived in for 50 years and getting her an assisted living. And I spent more time with helping my family than I almost did on my business. And that was the why, because I owned my own time. I packed 2 large suitcases and took off to help my mom. I didn't have to ask anybody for the time off. My business I got my largest deal ever. I got a 6-figure deal those months that I was gone. So it's owning your own time, being there for the people you want to be. And this is a vessel that can get you there, guys. I mean, I am living proof. My only regret in life is that I wish I did this sooner, because I found Jack and Michelle and I was like, I don't know. Let me work these 60 or 70 hours a week. And now I'm living a life of maybe 20 hours doing what I want. Every day I design every day, whether I wake up and want to go to work or wake up and want to go on a hike. And that's living life to its fullest. So you all deserve it. And that's what you all still have to understand is everybody on this call and watching this replay deserves to have the life they want. So just think about that when you're thinking about your why. Write it down. That's so important. Don't just think it, write it down and share it with somebody. Make sure you share it with your partner or your friend or your children so you're all on the same page so you can be held accountable. So that's really important, guys. So I look forward, I will be here on Wednesday with you. So I look very much forward to talking about marketing because that's my favorite.
Wonderful. All right, with that said, thank you, Courtney. See you Wednesday. See you guys tomorrow. My co-host is going to be Steven. We're going to talk about how to get these deals, marketing on the acquisition side, how to download these records, how to contact them, how to follow up, how to get these deals, how to make offers. All of that's tomorrow.